Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Wednesday, April 12th, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith. 3 days left and counting in the NHL regular season, as the playoff picture certainly got a lot clearer last night after a busy Tuesday night in the NHL, highlighted by, of course, our betcast, which was, once again, as it always is, a lot of fun. And, of course, it can only be fun if we get people stepping up and in, joining us live on the betcast, and we once again got that last night. So we appreciate everybody joining us last night on that Ice Guys betcast. And again, while that was the final regular season betcast, don't you worry, we've got plenty coming up in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and we can already announce that our first Stanley Cup Playoffs betcast night will be next Tuesday, April the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we're looking forward to that playoff betcast. Only probably 3 or 4 games max coming up on Tuesday night. So we really get to hone in on just a select few games and really, I think, maybe give us an even better opportunity as far as making live bets. So we're looking forward to the first playoff betcast next Tuesday for sure. As far as the games on the ice are concerned last night, we'll get to the headliner at the end, and you know who that is. But we will start with some of the other results we saw last night. Just quickly, Philly 4-3 over Columbus. Good to see that, as 2 of the 3 bets hit for me in that game with the Flyer team total over, and the best bet for the show, over 6.5 with the Jackets Flyers, also cashes in. Alex and I also were on Carolina first period puck line. They rolled to a pretty solid, sweat-free 4-1 victory over the Detroit Red Wings, who kind of look like they are on their last legs and kind of mailing it in here down the stretch of the regular season. The Boston Bruins, they get not only the single-season wins record, but also the single-season points record with their 5-2 victory over the Washington Capitals last night. There was some fear about a potential injury for Linus Ullmark, but precautionary measures, he was taken out of the game, and it doesn't look like it is going to be anything significant regarding his status moving forward. New Jersey officially eliminates the Buffalo Sabres with a 6-2 victory last night. So Buffalo's playoff hopes, whatever slim ones they were, come to an end. But the big highlight for us, certainly in that game, was the Jack Hughes last goal.
Yeah.
That really I only bet because Alex mentioned it, but it made a ton of sense, so I bet it too. A plus 850 for him to score the last goal, and really it saved the night. For him scoring a goal, I also had that, but I'm really thankful we got the goal prop and the last goal prop on Jack Hughes, because those are the only 2 props that cashed for him. The over 1.5 points did not cash. He only had the 1 point on that empty net goal. Over 3.5 shots on goal, which I really liked, that didn't cash. He only had 2 last night in the game. So it was really good to see that hit. And kudos to you, Alex. Just a remarkable call, plus 850 last goal, and a huge plus price winner right there.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like I said, in this show, and we talked about it, and having the betcast, but even to the daily show, it's all for us to help us kind of think out loud and put things together. And when you talked about Jack Hughes and like I said, the records that he was approaching, it just, the light bulb clicked. I said, oh well, maybe a last goal would be worth something worth sprinkling on, because of the fact that he needed 1 point to get the record for the team. He needed 4 to get to 100. So I thought it was, maybe he has a bad night and there's a chance late and they give him a chance to get the goal, or he has a great night and let's say he's got a goal and 2 assists already. Now he's looking for 100. Maybe he be on the ice for the empty net goal. So there were a bunch of scenarios that clicked in my head that said, oh, that makes sense. Now we got lucky the way it cashed, because Buffalo had no reason to pull their goalie again after being down 5-2. So we're very fortunate, thankful for that. But like I said, it just all kind of made sense. When we talk out loud and brainstorm together, things like this happen, and that's what the success of the betcast was all last night, and certainly even the play pregame.
That was just a wonderful moment for sure. With the Jack Hughes last goal prop cashing in there. We saw, of course, last night Winnipeg with the 3-1 victory over the Minnesota Wild, clinching their spot in the playoffs, getting the final wild card spot in the West. And I like the way they took their care of their business last night. They were ready to go from the opening puck drop. They didn't want to leave it to chance. I know they only needed 1 point, but they said, we're not risking it tonight. We're getting this done. They brought that workmanlike effort from the beginning. And right from the start, you could tell that was a team that was hoping to get 2 points in Minnesota, a team that was really desperately wanting to get 2 points in Winnipeg. And that ended up being the difference there. Very, very feisty game. It got a little nasty and heated toward the end. Multiple, of course, fights. You saw Hartman and Dillon going at it. When obviously Hartman is having a hearing, by the way, with the National Hockey League for his hit last night in that game. So keep an eye on that. Will there be any suspensions coming? Usually when they have an in-person hearing, that's usually not good news for the perpetrator. And in this case, that's Ryan Hartman. So Hartman got into a fight there with Dillon, and it ended up with Winnipeg already had sealed the game with 30 seconds to go. Ryan Reeves put out on the ice by Dean Evison. Say what you will, whether that's right or wrong, but he did. And he ended up going with Adam Lowry, who made one hell of an account of himself in that fight.
Yes.
Very, very impressive. But I think people forget he's a big boy, very, very tough in his own right. And he held his own against a very dangerous hombre in Ryan Reeves last night. And then Rick Bowness was not too thrilled that Dean Evison put Ryan Reeves out on the ice that late in the game, and he was letting him hear about it on the bench, and not thrilled that Reeves was put out there for that last fight. And then Dean Evison's just taking it all in. He wasn't really shouting back at Rick Bowness. He was just listening to Rick Bowness yelling at him, and he just shrugs his shoulders, just stares at him, and then does the old, come on. And just once, like, all right, you want a piece of me? And I'll tell you what, Rick Bowness doesn't want a piece of that. I'll tell you that right now.
Not at all.
That would not be a fair fight. Now I know Rick Bowness is, he's got a lot of emotion and intensity in him. No question. But you do not want to match up with Dean Evison in a one-on-one fight, physical confrontation. Yeah. That's just not going to end up going well for Rick Bowness. And if anyone remembers Dean Evison, and I do a little bit back from his playing days, he was a tough bastard. And you do not want any piece of him, especially Rick Bowness there. So I know Rick Bowness, I like that he just, after that little maneuver there by Dean Evison, let's put an end to that.
Yeah. Like I said, Dean Evison was a tough customer on the ice in his day. Exactly 1,000 minutes in penalties in the NHL. And, the guy punches his assistant coaches when they win for fun. So you don't think he wants to smoke against any other coach? Oh,
and
no,
he has the eyes of an axe
it.
Murderer when he stares into space. You really want to mess with that?
Yeah. He would relish the opportunity for somebody to come over that glass for sure. So yeah, it was a funny moment for sure, definitely.
Yeah, it sure was. And Winnipeg, they are definitely smiling for another reason, of course, with that win, punching their playoff ticket. Edmonton in a really good game. Don't be fooled by the 2-1 final score. It was very entertaining. It was very well played, very even, back and forth. Great goaltending from both Stu Skinner and Alexander Georgiev. But a power play ends up being the difference. And you just can't give Edmonton a power play, especially in overtime when it leads to 4-on-3. And I picked up on that because I took during the betcast Edmonton plus 160 to win in overtime last night once they got that power play. And Evan Bouchard with a blast from the point ends it and gives the Oilers a 2-1 win. Another great win. They continue to roll along, and they continue to cement my thinking that Edmonton has got a very real shot to make a deep run this year in the Western Conference. I just love everything about their game right now. The offense is always dangerous, but I like what they're doing at the other end more than anything. They're defending. I think Darnell Nurse play has picked up significantly. I think playing with Ekholm has been a large part of that. Ekholm's just been amazing. Just been absolutely what Edmonton needed. Stuart Skinner's been the goaltender that Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen were not on a consistent basis. So, yeah, it's all good for the Oilers heading into the playoffs. Their game is right where they want it to be as we get into next week. We saw Vancouver beat Anaheim 3-2. Vegas beat Seattle 4-1. That was a good spot for Vegas. They ended up getting the job done. But we wrap up with, obviously, the stunner of the night. And just an unbelievably awful defeat, embarrassing loss, unacceptable, whatever words you want to use. The Pittsburgh Penguins losing 5-2 to the Chicago Blackhawks on home ice. What was Chicago, 1-11? In their last 12 games going into last night? It was something like that. And somehow the Pittsburgh Penguins, with a gift given to them by the New York Islanders for, spitting the bit against Washington in their previous game, gave control of Pittsburgh's playoff destiny right back to the Penguins. And the Penguins said, we don't want to take care of business. We really don't want to make the playoffs that much. Here you go, Islanders. It's in your control again after that loss last night. Brutal stuff. Look, I think there was a lot of things that were good about Pittsburgh's game and the fact that they carried the play. They did have, and in the third period, they were really swarming Chicago. But at the end of the day, if you're going to win games like that, you've got to somehow get to the middle part of the ice, the slot area. You've got to get traffic in front of Peter Mrazek. You've got to be able to get to those loose pucks and those rebounds right in front of the goal crease. And too often, Pittsburgh didn't get to those pucks last night. And that ended up being the difference. They had their chances, but there wasn't enough of that type of play out of the Pittsburgh Penguins, being able to cash in on all those loose pucks in front of the net. When they did, give Chicago credit. They collapsed in front of the net. And Peter Mrazek, to his credit, for as bad a season as he's been and all the groin injuries he's had, one of his best performances, hands down, of the season last night. And just a absolutely hurtful, gut-wrenching, painful loss for the Pittsburgh Penguins, which now puts them in the unfortunate position of hoping like hell the New York Islanders lose in regulation tonight to the Montreal Canadiens, which it maybe is possible after what we saw from the Islanders against Washington. But that's what it's going to take for Pittsburgh to stay alive and have their seasons keep going past tonight. They need a Montreal regulation win. Even just 1 point from the New York Islanders tonight will put the Islanders in the playoffs and put Pittsburgh out. So that is a dubious ask for the Pittsburgh Penguins, needing that to come to fruition. And not only that, but even with Montreal winning in regulation tonight, Pittsburgh still got to go to Columbus and beat the Blue Jackets, on Thursday night to get in. And after seeing them lose at home to Chicago last night, you don't rule anything out at this point when it comes to Pittsburgh. But Alex, that was a very, very tough, painful loss. And I thought Evgeny Malkin summed it up. He had a great post-game statement to the media. He says, I always play hard. This team plays hard. That's not the issue. But it's a younger generation, there's a younger generation coming through the NHL right now. And he kind of hinted at the fact that, we're an older roster. We're not able to just keep up as much with some of these other teams in the National Hockey League. I think it was kind of a shot, too, at the GM, if you ask me, with that statement that, hey, we've basically kept this older core that just can't get it done as much on a consistent basis and can't find those critical goals as much as they once did.
Yeah, and that's pretty confusing because how can Evgeny Malkin really take shots at Hextall for not making this team younger when if he wanted to make the team younger, you wouldn't be there, Evgeny Malkin. Neither would Chris Letang re-sign for another 7 years so he could be playing until he's 42.
You guys all wanted to stay together and make one last run at the Cup here this year. Right. Now you're all of a sudden saying, we should have been a younger team. Come on.
So you're right. They should have been a younger team, and you guys shouldn't have been there. Like that you can't have it both ways. Like that's kind of weird. If you're not calling anybody out that's younger on your team, but you're saying you should have been younger, then what's the issue there? Like he's pointing in the mirror and yelling basically. So Pittsburgh, like I said, they made their own bed and now they're lying in it, and they've got an uphill climb, which shouldn't be an uphill climb. Montreal, of course, like I said, they've been feisty, and the Islanders, you don't know what you're getting from them. They're a coin flip team. They should have put the screws to Washington, and they didn't. So it's not a guarantee that they put the screws to the Habs here. And then you have your rivals who are, literally, setting tee times as we speak, getting ready for the offseason coming in. It's crazy to think that this Pittsburgh team is going to miss the playoffs in this fashion. I thought this team was going to be a fringe contender, possibly missing out because of the fact that they were an old team. And we've seen, the inconsistency in the goaltending and all the injury issues mount over the years. But for it to end in this fashion is a bit shocking. Like I said, not beating teams that you should, and teams that are literally just trying to tank in the sense of the Hawks, but they just couldn't put. It wasn't that the Hawks, pressed and played this great game. Pittsburgh never did anything to put it away. When the Hawks were playing kind of slow, and a team like Minnesota the night before could take advantage of those instances, Pittsburgh could. And that's the thing. And it's just like they just don't have enough steam, enough energy, and clearly, based on what Malkin says, enough youth to make this deep of a run now. And except when you're playing this important hockey now, it takes a lot out of your legs. Even if you get into the playoffs to playing in that first round and second round.
Yeah, it's I can't believe we're here today on this Wednesday show saying Pittsburgh lost to Chicago at home last night. Minus 550 is where they closed, by the way, as favorites last night. So if I shouldn't need any more, ammunition to prove to people don't ever lay minus 550 in an NHL game.
Ever.
And last night was just more evidence. Don't ever do it. I don't care how much it looks like a cinch for a team to win a certain game. It's not worth it. And a lot of times in this sport, especially, you'll see the big upset end up happening. And we saw that last night with the Chicago Blackhawks. Don't do it. Don't ever lay minus 550 in this sport. That was proven again last night. All right, let's go to the Wednesday card. We got 3 games. We'll start with the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Islanders. This is oddly enough the only game not on TNT tonight, and it's probably the most significant game when it comes to playoff implications. But this game is not the TNT doubleheader. It's the other 2 games that we will get to. The Islanders minus 350, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. The New York Islanders, as Alex said, as I said, should win this game. They're the better team than Montreal. Montreal is absolutely gutted right now, still, with their lineup being completely depleted, shorthanded with, Kirby Dach and Josh Anderson, Belzile, Dvorak, Caden Gooley, David Savard, Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Jacky, all out of the lineup. But the guys that are still in there right now for the Montreal Canadiens, they've played hard. They haven't always played well. Defensively, they've still had issues, but they've played hard. There's no doubt. And, they were good enough to beat Washington 6-2. The Islanders couldn't beat Washington. So you have to factor that in. But unfortunately with Montreal, they've had a couple of these rise up moments, shocking Tampa Bay 3-2, pummeling Columbus 8-2, beating Washington 6-2, but they've also had some rough nights, real rough nights too. 9-5 loss to Florida, 5-2 loss to Florida, 3-0 shutout loss to Carolina, 5-0 shutout loss to Detroit. And then Saturday night, they just weren't even in the game against Toronto, losing 7-1 to the Leafs. So you just don't really know what you're going to get out of Montreal either, and especially with this depleted, shorthanded roster that they have at their disposal. But, to me, this is one where I'm going to just, for a couple of bucks here, go with the dog draw split. I saw enough holes and enough worries about the Islanders the other night that, I think they're definitely a tad overvalued here at minus 350 as home favorites. And especially when you look at series history between these two teams. Last 4 meetings dating back to last February, it was a 3-2 Montreal win in a shootout in February last year against this Islanders team in this building. It was 3-0 Islanders in Montreal. It was a 2-1 home win for the Islanders against Montreal in January of this season. And then the last meeting, Montreal won at home in overtime against the Islanders 4-3. So these have not been easy head-to-head matchups for the New York Islanders by any stretch of the imagination. And keep in mind, this is a team that offensively, one night they'll score a bunch and next night they'll get shut down. And, and it looks like they're still going to be without Matthew Barzal for an indefinite period of time. They were hoping maybe to get him back for the end of the regular season. The hope is that he returns for the playoffs if they get there. Of course, all they need now is 1 point. There's no excuse now. You got to get this done if you're the Islanders. You got to find your way to get at least 1 point out of this game. But again, should win, and doesn't always mean they will. And should get a point doesn't mean they always will. So again, and you look at this series history, Montreal has consistently been a tough out for the New York Islanders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a tiny little sprinkle on the plus 305 that I can get with Montreal money line. But more than that, I like the draw. The draw is the superior play for me in this game. We did see overtime in the game in Montreal between these two teams in February. The game here in Belmont Park in January, like I said, that did not go to overtime, but it was 2-1 for the Islanders. It was that close to go into overtime. So the draw is definitely live in this game. I don't think it could be a blowout. Montreal certainly could roll, the Islanders, I should say, could roll in this game, no doubt, because we've seen Montreal have some real bad games lately. The 7-1 loss to Toronto, the 5-0 loss to Detroit, but I just don't know if the Islanders have it in them to win decisively. And I think there's going to be some element, Alex. And the one thing about Marty St. Louis, a bit of a motivator, to come in here and say, hey, let's just go out there. Let's play loose. Let's have fun. Let's play free and easy hockey. And let's see if maybe we can pull an upset here and really make this team work for it and sweat tonight. I think that's going to be the mantra from Marty St. Louis. So the draw at plus 440 at FanDuel. I'm definitely not passing that up. Alex, Canadiens Islanders.
Yeah, that's my only play here is the draw, and that's an incredible price, especially when you talk about series history. These are two teams that play tight just in general, but especially against one another. 2 of the last 4 meetings going to OT. And like I said, the Islanders, if they play the style of hockey they want to play, it doesn't mean they're going to win the game 5-2, right? Just their natural inclination is to get 3 goals and wear you down physically, play well defensively. So even if they're doing things right, it's still looking at low scoring. And if Montreal's doing things right, they don't have the horses to keep up with a lot of teams. They're going to just try to slow things down. So this total 5.5 makes a complete sense. If we get a goal early, and you see 1-0, maybe with a few minutes left before that first intermission, maybe take a shot with the under live, but definitely going to be on that draw, and I'm grabbing it at FanDuel too at that plus 440.
That definitely, and again, with the Islanders, they just need 1 point. That's what makes the setup for the draw bet even better tonight in this hockey game. If it's tied late in the third period, Islanders aren't taking chances. They're not pressing to take the lead late in the third period. They don't need to. 1 point gets the job done. 1 point clinches the playoffs tonight for the New York Islanders. So that makes that draw bet even more appealing when you look at the way this playoff permutation, if you will, sets up for the New York Islanders tonight. All right, next up, it's the second of the 3 games tonight, and it's the first of the TNT doubleheader tonight. Dallas Stars, St. Louis Blues. We've got Dallas minus 160, road favorites, 6 the total. Shaded to the over in this one. The Dallas Stars, of course, still in a closely contested, hard-fought battle with the Colorado Avalanche for first in the Central Division. Looks like it's going to go right down to the wire. Of course, a huge favor done by Edmonton for this Dallas team last night, beating Colorado in overtime 2-1. So 2 games left for the Stars and still just 1 point behind Colorado for first in the Central. So there is no doubt that the division can still be won here for the Dallas Stars going into this game tonight against St. Louis. Joel Hofer, by the way, has been recalled from the AHL. Of course, we saw him get a handful of starts a little bit earlier this season for the Blues. He will be in net tonight for St. Louis in this game. Dallas turning to Scott Wedgwood here in net tonight, and giving Jake Ottinger a rest, especially with Dallas in action again, I believe, tomorrow night. Yes, they are at home against St. Louis. So it's a home and home with the Blues to end this regular season for Dallas. That Ottinger will get that game. I wouldn't necessarily. I always used to think that Wedgwood was this huge downgrade from Ottinger, and yeah, he's not Ottinger. There is a little downgrade, but Wedgwood played well. The last couple of starts, believe it or not, that we have seen him in net. If you look at his recent outings, his last start came against Nashville. It was just recently, 9 days ago, and it was a big game in the standings. Nashville was still battling for the playoffs at that time. Of course, they've been officially eliminated by the Winnipeg victory last night, but he played very well against the Preds. It was a 5-1 win for Dallas. He made 26 saves on 27 Nashville shots, only gave up 1 goal. So Wedgwood's a capable guy. I think it's unfair to say, he's a bottom-tier backup. He's not. He's a capable goalie, and he played very well in that start he had against Nashville just recently. So I think there's enough in Dallas here to get 2 points in this game against the St. Louis Blues. So the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to do a split bet with Dallas -1 and Dallas in regulation here in this game. And because that way, if this game does go to overtime and they win in overtime or a shootout, at least we'll get a push on the half portion of the bet that's -1, which is, by the way, plus 100 even money for the Stars, -1 plus 100. And we'll also split it up with that regulation price, also plus 100 here in this game. Just in case, it's a 1-goal victory in regulation. You'd like to have that security for sure to have the regulation bet. And again, if it goes to overtime or a shootout, you'll at least, and Dallas wins, you'll at least push on the -1 portion. So I'm going to do a split there with Dallas and reg and Dallas -1 at plus 100. Alex, Stars, Blues.
Yeah, I'm doing the exact same thing. And for those who may have books that don't have the -1 available, you can search in your props. Like if you'll see NHL props, like for example, Bet Online, and you can pick margin of victory. So you just want Dallas Stars by 1, and that will include overtime in the shootout. So that's something I wanted to kind of make a note of, because I know you've been talking about these plays the last couple of days, looking for that -1. We talked about, we've seen the empty net goals go in. So sometimes you can, cash a little plus profit if you think the game's going to fully go into regulation, but you also secure a little bit of a push and a return back if it does go to OT. So great strategy there. And I like Dallas, like I said, to win this game. Wedgwood's not that big of a drop off especially against the St. Louis team that I just can't imagine is going to come out even looking with 50% effort in this contest. They seem like they're just pretty much done here. So Dallas needing points, wanting to just keep their momentum rolling in a positive direction. I side with Dallas here in regulation. So Dallas regulation, and I'm going with basically for mine it would be Dallas to win by 1, not exactly -1 in the margin of victory scale, because that's a plus price too, as I'm seeing like plus 350.
I lean to the over here too a little bit, but on the series history, we've seen 5 straight games go under the total, head to head between the Dallas Stars and St. Louis Blues. So, to me, that's probably going to keep me off that total. Just stick with the Dallas looks here for the -1 and the even money, or Dallas -1 plus 100, and in regulation as well at plus 100. As far as props go for this game, look, I'm telling you what, this guy with the incredible ability to turn his game on at the right time of year. Joe Pavelski, man, unbelievable. 6 goals in his last 7 games. What does he have in terms of points during that span? 9 points in the last 7 games for Joe Pavelski for the Dallas Stars. I mean, he's just been terrific. And this is what you get from him. The bigger the games, the better he plays. He steps up. He elevates every single year. You never have to question, Alex, what you get from Joe Pavelski in big-time games, important games, at playoff time, close to playoff time. He always delivers, and man, has he turned his game on at the right time once again. So any props involving him to score a goal is plus 220. Point prop, a little pricey, -165, but it probably gets there. Definitely, you got to look at Pavelski right now. There's no question about that. As far as props go tonight for the Dallas Stars, even Jamie Benn with points in 3 of the last 4 games, he's been stepping his game up. Jason Robertson, of course, it goes without saying. Of course, with him, you probably want to take the over 1.5 points if you're going to bet him, because the point prop on its own will be too expensive. But you can go over 1.5 points at plus 180. I could see that. Robertson to get a goal, plus 136. Again, he's been scoring in bunches. This is a game where I wouldn't get too cute. I always say look for the bargain bin. Look for the bargain bin with your player props. Now stick with the big guns in a game of this magnitude, as you're trying to win a division. Pavelski, Rope Hintz is another one. Yep, no doubt he came back from injury just, I believe, a couple of games ago. And I believe since he's been back, he's also been starting to light the lamp again for the Stars. Yeah, 1 goal, 3 assists in his second game back against Detroit the other night for 4 points. So, yeah, Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson, Ben. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're going to look at someone down the lineup, it's probably my guy Wyatt Johnston, the 19-year-old rookie who's had one hell of a season. Definitely might be worth a look for some props there. I will give you one for St. Louis as well in this game, because he's on a little bit of a heater right now for the Blues. Justin Falk, from the blue line, has points in 3 straight games and has an assist for the Blues from the back end in 3 straight games. We've talked about for a while how he's been shooting the puck quite a bit. So he's only plus 116 to get a point in this game tonight, and plus 175 to get an assist. And again, he's on a 3-game point and assist streak for the Blues. So pretty good price there, pretty good odds as far as that goes. Braden Shen as well. He's been on a nice run for the St. Louis Blues in these last few regular season games. 4 consecutive game point scoring streak, and 4 straight games with an assist as well. For Braden Shen of the Blues. His point prop is only -135, and the assist prop plus 130 here for Braden Shen tonight in this game. And again, he's a guy that's gone a 4-game point and assist streak going into tonight. So actually a really good prop game. Some really good streaks, some really good prices. Definitely worth a look here in this game tonight.
And want to mention one thing Keebs in the chat brought up. Yeah, with this line, you can definitely do the old way of creating a -1 of splitting half money line and half on the 1.5 to create that -1 line. Just that when you start talking about bigger favorites, you may not be able to get much value in blending those two. So that's why that win by 1 margin bet is sometimes a better option. So in this case, yes, you could totally split half on the -160, half on whatever the puck line at 1.5, and create your own -1 line.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a bunch of different ways you can go about it. No question here in this game tonight. All right, that's the first 2 games. We've got one more game on tap here for this Wednesday card. Shout out to everyone watching live on YouTube. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. And our podcast listeners, thanks for tuning in as well. We'll be back to talk San Jose, Calgary. The Calgary Sternums one more time this season in just a moment, right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code Ice Guys, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, it is time for our final game on this Wednesday slate. It is the San Jose Sharks and the Calgary Flames. Calgary minus 250, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. And a couple people were joking on the betcast last night, although I think they were being half serious as well. It would just be such a Calgary Flames way to end the season to go out and blast San Jose 7-1 tonight. It really would. You know, with all the pressure off, now that they're out of the playoffs, watch them all rally together tonight for one of their better games of the season. You know, now that they're loose as a goose and they know they're out of it, they're resigned to golfing after tonight. So definitely a situation where I think if you, look at this game here with the Sharks and the Flames, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Flames are going to lose. Now, my initial thought was you can't lay minus 250 with Calgary, and I'm still not laying minus 250 with Calgary. No way. Obviously, after they just got their hearts ripped out and their playoff hopes come to an end. But you have to also keep in mind that San Jose, isn't playing well. San Jose is kind of playing out the string. This is the final home game for the Flames. Not that, they might still be just so crestfallen missing the playoffs. They don't even care about rising up for one last great effort tonight. But with some of the lineup decisions we've seen here from the Calgary Flames tonight, you're certainly going to get effort from some of the guys because one thing I'll say about Calgary's lineup that they're putting on the ice tonight, and obviously, with the playoffs officially not going to happen for them, you're going to see a few new faces in the lineup, most notably Matthew Coronado, their college signee. They just signed him to that 3-year ELC contract on Sunday, of course, ended up having a great season in college with Harvard down there in the college hockey ranks, 38 goals, 72 points, and 68 games for him at Harvard. He will make his Flames debut tonight. Looks like he will play on the third line for Calgary tonight with Nazem Kadri and Jacob Pelletier. Dubé, Lindholm, Toffoli, Huberdeau, Backlund, Mangiapane remaining the top four in the lineup tonight for the top two lines, I should say, for the Calgary Flames. Looks like all the defensemen there's nobody resting. It's going to be Dustin Wolf as well, making his NHL debut for the Calgary Flames. And if anybody knows anything about Dustin Wolf and knows their prospect food chain, they know this guy could be the future in net for the Calgary Flames. Much like we're talking about Devin Levi in Buffalo, this guy could be the future in net for the Calgary Flames. He's been brilliant with the Calgary Wranglers, their AHL affiliate as well. His numbers down there are absolutely sick. He's been absolutely sensational. 41-11 win-loss record down there and a .932 save percentage with the Wranglers in the AHL. And apparently the Calgary Wranglers, from all indications, have a chance to make a deep playoff run in the AHL this year in that Calder Cup playoffs. So this is one of those deals where Dustin Wolf's going to make his NHL debut tonight with the Flames, and then it's right back to the Wranglers after this to see if he can lead this team on a long, deep AHL playoff run here tonight for the Wranglers. So don't be surprised if he can play if he plays well here. This is a very talented young goalie. He's been excellent down there. I think this is more, with some goalies when they get called up, Tarasov, they don't, they can't deal with the NHL yet. They struggle. I think this is going to be more like Levi for Buffalo and more like Joseph Wall for Toronto, where, I think this guy could come in here and play very well. He's got that kind of pedigree and he's got that kind of long-term upside. So I'm really torn now on what to do with this game. I kind of want to bet over as well, because I think it's going to be just an up and down affair. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of defense. Certainly you're not seeing it from San Jose right now. And Calgary, the fear is always 40 shots on goal and 2 goals or less scored, right? We always say that about Calgary. But against San Jose, man, they've got to be able to, I think, find a little bit more offense, you would think, in this game. And I do remember, Alex, just recently they played each other here in Calgary, Sharks and Flames, late in the regular season. March 25th, it was just a couple weeks ago, 5-3 final score for Calgary. It ended up going over the total. There's been 3 straight overs in the series history. I'm still going to bet it, even with my concerns about Wolf playing well tonight. And that I think San Jose is just awful defensively right now. You look at what the Sharks are doing. It's been terrible. They give up 6 to Winnipeg, 6 to Edmonton, 6 to Colorado. They give 18 goals in the last 3 games combined. I know Calgary's not the offensive potency of those teams, but my goodness, the Sharks can't keep the puck out of their own net right now. So I'm going to go with over 6.5, and maybe I sprinkle on the draw because I don't want to lay 250 with Calgary, not at all, but I don't really want to go with San Jose now, knowing they've got this youth movement. They got Wolf in net, and I don't see enough quality out of San Jose to take them either. So over 6.5, maybe a sprinkle on the draw here as well, and you can get that, by the way, at plus 410. Why not? I mean, we have seen Calgary play 2 straight games beyond regulation, 3 in their last 6 games. So it's still got a possibility we see beyond 60 minutes tonight. Alex, what do you think here? San Jose, Calgary, a very fascinating game to handicap.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. It's been a fascinating game to handicap, and it'll be a fun one to watch for sure. This is definitely a game I would recommend a lot of people to watch tonight. It's probably the best game to watch on the board, even though obviously the Islanders and Habs, that game has the most importance. But this game is going to be a ton of fun. Dustin Wolf is the truth. This kid is, you said about his numbers 41-11 this year, but if you add his numbers last year, he's 76-18-9 the last 2 seasons, because they were in Stockton last year. Now they're in Calgary this year. Wow. The Wranglers have been a wagon all season long. If any book, which I'd be hard to find, if you could find AHL futures, I'd probably take a shot with Calgary to win the Western Conference and the Calder Cup this year. They're loaded, and with these kids coming up, and now with Wolf getting a shot with the big club, which Jacob Markstrom, maybe get a real estate agent on the line, because this kid might take his job at some point. Honestly, if anybody's seen my charts on Patreon, Dustin Wolf has been ranked the highest third-string goalie in the league all year long. He's better than most backups that are in the NHL right now. This price is warranted. You can't lay 250, but the way I'm going is first period puck line with Calgary, laying the half a goal. I got plus 115 at PointsBet. You can find plus 105 to plus 115. Anything in that range is good. And shop around for Dustin Wolf saves over. I got 23.5 and laid $1.20. Now I'm seeing 24.5 at even money. Either one is fine. I think he has a great night, and I think Calgary rolls in this one.
Oh, that's interesting. You know what? I don't mind the Wolf props. Look, the question is, the one thing Calgary often does is keep the shots against. They get the shots, not necessarily the opponent. But
sure.
And you look at San Jose, last 3 games, 23, 23, 21. They're not exactly a high volume shot team lately, but it's it'll be interesting to see, because if there's ever a night maybe Calgary's going to give up a little bit more, it's after they just got knocked out of the playoffs. So, and
that's the thing. I expect a more relaxed Flames team at both ends. That's why. So over makes sense. This could easily be a 4-3 Calgary win, but I think we see about 35 shots going each way. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be the typical Calgary lockdown on defense and then try to fire off as many shots as possible. I think we're going to see Calgary get more chances because they're going to be skating in deep. They're going to be able to play a more relaxed style. What we saw from them at the beginning of the year, basically, is what I think we kind of see here. So I think that lends itself to more shot attempts for San Jose and more saves for Wolf.
Yeah, that's a good comment, Rich, too. Calgary is the new Lucy with the football that Charlie Brown keeps trying to kick. Yeah, that's right. Pretty much. That's what we've been seeing from them. Not a lot of finish to all the shots and all the chances that they've had all year. And again, the overtime and shootout losses just absolutely crushed them this year in terms of their playoff chances. Way too many of those extra points they missed out on because of overtime and shootout losses. But you know what I think? Another thing I think this over is why I think the over is a good bet. And Wolf could play well and still give up 2-3 goals because this is his first NHL start. He's going to be good, but is he going to shut you out the first start he has? I don't know about that. And I think you're going to see I think you're going to see a big track meet, though, because the one thing about Calgary now is they've got a faster lineup tonight. You bring in Coronado. You've got Peltier back in the lineup. You've got now a little more speed in your lineup, which this team's been criticized not having enough of it this season. So it should lead to a little bit of a faster pace just based on the team that Calgary's icing tonight.
Yeah, if you're someone who, and I know we got Skis picks in the chat and a Perlo, if you're someone who looks at goalies and look at these saves props, get a look at Dustin Wolf tonight and really watch him, because if he does get a chance to stick around with the big club next year full time, he's definitely going to be a guy I think that we can bet some of these over props with. This guy he's solid. He's one of the best goalies I've seen in quite some time. I have him ranked pretty high, so like I said, I'm really excited for this game.
I concur. Everything we've seen about him in the minors the last couple seasons in the AHL is that he's phenomenal. He's been phenomenal down there, and will he keep it going here? The pride of Gilroy, California, Dustin Wolf making his NHL debut tonight. Looking forward to it. It's the second TNT game tonight, by the way, Sharks and Flames. So not only is it his NHL debut, but it's going to be and he's an American, of course. So national TV in the States on TNT. So what a way to make.
Who's calling that game?
Debut.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was that?
You know who's calling? You know who's calling the game?
Let me just see in terms of Flames and Sharks. I know why you're asking. I totally understand why you're asking, because you know that the Shark play-by-play voice is Randy Hahn, and you do know that he has stepped in and called some games for TNT in the playoffs in the past, but I don't think he's done any in the regular season, but that doesn't mean he can't start tonight. I get where you're going. I'm going to see if I can find out that information. I'll look that up while we run our next ad here for Manscaped, and I will see if I can get an answer to that question. But in the meantime, great stuff. That's your Wednesday card. We appreciate it. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. You know what I'm also going to do? A couple little small bets on goal props for Coronado in his debut, and also Peltier. Peltier, to me, these are guys that are going to be a big part of the future of the Flames, especially offensively. I think they're going to be loose, relaxed. So why not take a shot here? We don't have goalie confirmations yet for San Jose in this game. We assume Kokkonen because he's projected, but nothing confirmed there at the moment as of yet. And one thing I would look at too in this game here, and I know he's gotten the milestone 100 points. That was a big part in betting the Carlson props, but he still may want to tack on a few more here at the end. So maybe look at more Carlson props tonight for San Jose in this one. But we'll get to best bets in just a second. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Check it out. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, daily Ice Guys show betting card, bonus content, and more. Sign up and subscribe. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We got hoodies, we got T-shirts, we got caps. It's 87 degrees here in Minnesota, so I'm going to wear my Ice Guys T-shirt later on if I go outside. Grab one now, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
It's a great time of year. The weather's finally warming up, although it's not going to be this warm after this week here, too, but at least we're getting a taste of it here in the middle of April, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, best bets to wrap up the show. There's nothing wrong with best bets last night. Man, it was a clean sweep, 3-0. Alex's two best bets, including the big Jack Hughes last goal hit at plus 850, and my best bet. So a 3-0 sweep with best bets last night. We'll see if we can deliver an encore tonight with best bets coming right up, right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there. And it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Ice Guys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code Ice Guys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, and yes, we can confirm that it's Kaapo Kähkönen in net for the San Jose Sharks tonight in that game. And we do have our announcers confirmed for tonight. It's going to be Kenny Albert, Eddie Olczyk, Keith Jones for Dallas versus St. Louis. And the late game is going to be Alex Faust, Darren Pang, and Jen Botterill. So there you go for the Flames and the Sharks. So there you go. And I knew Brendan Burke, they were going to give Brendan Burke the night off tonight, because Brendan Burke and, they arranged it with the Islanders that, hey, this is the final home game and final, I think, game of the season too for the Islanders. They want Brendan Burke calling that locally with Butch Goring. So there you go. That's why Brendan Burke is off TNT duty tonight. But Alex Faust is a great replacement. And he's calling the Calgary San Jose game tonight later. So no Randy Hahn. So that's perfect. That was the big fear. And Panger's just this ray of sunshine. This light.
He is. He's awesome.
It's just bundle of joy. That's what Darren Pang is. He's just wonderful. I mean, he's just never negative. It's always positive, always good vibes, positivity, having fun, exciting to listen, entertaining. Yeah, Darren Pang's great. Darren Pang did a great interview, by the way, on Missing Curfew this week with Scotty Upshaw and Shane O'Brien. Their show is very good too. I know Spittin' Chicklets is number one. It's probably always will be, but Missing Curfew is a good show too. And Pang did an in-studio interview on there, and it was great. Really good.
Nice. I have to check that out.
Yeah, and you can tell he's just a salt of the earth guy, Panger. Just nothing but great things to say about him. You can tell he's a legitimately good guy when you see him and hear him. All right, best bets to wrap up the show. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Perfect. Well, let's just stick with that game, San Jose and Calgary. I know we've been calling them the Calgary Sternums for weeks and weeks, but now I think we're going to call them the Calgary Wolves tonight. I like Dustin Wolf to get this team rocking and rolling for the finale. I mean, obviously, they're going golfing after this, but like I said, watch out for those Wranglers in the AHL. For this play tonight, best bet, we're going to go with Calgary first period puck line, laying the half a goal. We'll go plus 115. I mean, hey, we went plus 115 on the first period puck line last night. It worked out well, so why not double it up again? Let's go Calgary first period puck line. That is my Wednesday best bet.
All right, Calgary minus a half in the first period for Alex B. Smith, plus 115 or so with Calgary in the first period here against San Jose for best bet. I'm telling you what, if Darren Pang were with us on the betcast last night, I know for a fact that once we hit that Jack Hughes, sorry. I've got all these Jacks. Jack Michaels, the Edmonton announcer. Jack Eichel. Jack Hughes.
You're like me yesterday getting Jack and Luke confused now.
I know. Jack Hughes. There we go. I know for a fact with us hitting Jack Hughes' last goal plus 850, if Darren Pang somehow were on the betcast last night with us as that happened, we'd get a holy jumping.
Yep.
I knew we would.
Definitely.
We would definitely get a holy jumping out of Darren Pang for that. All right. Best bets here for me on this Wednesday card. I am going to go with that Sharks Flames over 6.5 minus 120. I like it. It is my favorite play on this card. Sharks Flames over 6.5 minus 120. I expect a loose atmosphere. Dallas is considered that as a best bet too. I do like that one quite a bit, the Stars, but I'm going to go with San Jose Calgary over 6.5 minus 120 for my best bet here for this Wednesday card. Holy jumping, another great show here on the Ice Guys. Although Eddie Olczyk might reprimand me because, I'm taking Darren Pang stuff like Leah Hextall apparently did. And I didn't even know. Before we wrap up, I will talk about this briefly. I didn't even know it happened because I didn't watch the part of Arizona-Seattle that night on the ESPN Plus broadcast when she did that on the one goal. The hey, what do you say? And I also, even though I was watching a lot of Chicago and Seattle on Saturday night, I also didn't have the audio on for that moment when Eddie Olczyk kind of said, you know what, give, you can say imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, but if you're gonna, use someone's goal call, just give them credit for it. That's all, that kind of thing. And I mean, that was, Eddie just mentioned it over the air, like Leah Hextall. And the thing is with Forsland's call it's not so much that someone else used it. It's that's a personal call for Forsland because it's something his dad said to him. And his dad, of course, lost him at a young age. And that's why he incorporates the, hey, what do you say? And that's what Eddie was hinting at, that if you're Leah Hextall, at least mentioned this great announcer of the Kraken, John Forsland, his famous trademark call, she didn't say anything. All she just used it and didn't even say a dick about John Forsland. And I think that was the issue with Eddie with it.
Yeah, it's unwritten code. And I mean, even with giving the credit, this is unwritten code. There's some things you don't say. If you're a baseball announcer and you're saying "holy cow" or "you can put it on the board," yes, it's like no, you can't do that. Those aren't your calls. So I kind of do get that. That some things are just like you said, personal statement, especially when you think about how personal that particular saying is for Forsland. Like I said, with his father involved and stuff too. Yeah, that's just a stay away. So it's another swing and a miss for Leah Hextall.
I know. Another reason, just keep her in between the benches. All right, she actually does a solid job with that. Just let's end the play-by-play experience with her. Let's just keep her in between the benches there. She can do the reporting, and she's actually decent at that. And that's the way it should be moving forward. Another faux pas, unfortunately, for she just can't get out of her own way when it comes to this play-by-play gig. It just another thing seems to happen. But nevertheless, great stuff. Great Wednesday show. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.